being thrown before this honorable court.
का लीड मेंबर है संजीव मुखिया, ही इज नॉट अरेस्टेड, मोबाइल फोन्स आर नॉट रिकवर्ड, तो क्या कोई सैंक्टिटी बची है इस एग्जाम की इस समय पर? बहुत अहम फैसला है यार, इट इज गोइंग टू बी वेरी वेरी बिग.
This is way of submission, I believe. But they say that 23 lakh people will be affected. No, it is not even the first 56,000 people who get the medical colleges. Rest all want a REIT again chance, Lord. When they are comparing the figures, they are talking of 1,08,000, and everything is being their reference sometime to 23 lakh people, sometime to 12 lakh people, sometime to 1,08,000, sometime to 56,000. Sometime they categorize from 663 marks, sometime 550. They are clicking picture wherever they get the best photograph to justify on the data that if we take from this angle, this seems 0.5%, it may be justified. Lord, a leak case where it's not even 1% of the total people who wrote the examination are involved. Not even 1% will be 23,000 people. Even if there are 1,000 people who are a beneficiary of this machination, there has to be a retest. So, we are finding a imbalance in a haystack where there are few needles here and they are inserted into the system. We will not find that imbalance. Now, I conclude here on a leak that saying that the integrity has actually gone. We can't reach a conclusion that everybody has been identified and rest all are pious people and they should not be bothered any further. Now, my Lord, I come to their systemic failure, my Lord, which I raised in my second petition. My Lord, in my first petition, I came only for leak. My Lord, Justice Pardiwala rightly pointed out. We came only for a leak. But my Lord, with the passage of time, and this honorable court granted us time. Now, my Lord, what we have found is there is absolutely no system in place for conducting this kind of an examination. Taking example of Lord Bahadurgarh, where now after flip-flop from yesterday, what they said, they changed 3 statements in the court itself. Now the statement is, with regard to, there were 3 centers. Lord, this I'm saying not as an individual instance. This I'm demonstrating that there were no systems in place for conducting this examination. And for this reason also, this examination has to go. If Lord, NEET is a patient, it suffers from a multiple organ failure and the patient has to go. Now, Lord, talking of Bahadurgarh, they say there are 3 centers in Bahadurgarh. There is only one city coordinator who is authorized to collect paper. Now, for the 2 centers, they say the SBI paper was collected. Given to those 2 centers, there was some delay in distribution. So at what level they took a decision to grant extra time then and there? Who took that decision? That there was not all this, like superintendent in Hazaribagh colluded with these accused. All these superintendents and invigilators and the city coordinators are private people. They are charging 2,000, 2,500 from the NTA and performing their job. Now, they are the people on the spot. Are they taking the decision to extend time that in these 2 centers?
That you argued.
Yes, Lord. I'm just rapidly concluding, Lord. These 2 centers, they extended time. Only SBI paper was given. Hardyal School, the curious case. Now, in their note, what they say is that for Hardyal School, the paper distributed amongst the student was both SBI and Canara Bank, both papers were given to the students. Lord, this is what the 2-page note they have given today. They say at Hardyal School, Jhajjar, initially both set of questions paper were distributed. Lord, what is this system? I fail to understand. After some time, SBI question paper was withdrawn. Now, who gave these instructions that SBI paper is to be withdrawn? If SBI paper was the actual paper, if at all, Canara Bank was wrongly distributed, Canara Bank should have been retained. But they say both were given, meaning thereby there is absolutely no sanctity. SBI is withdrawn, Canara is allowed to do. Lord, we have a video on record on which they have not commented, the principal of this school, and we have the video, the transcript is on record. But let me say what she says. She says there is not a minute delay. Canara Bank paper was distributed. After 47 minutes or 50 minutes, we got to know that it should have been SBI. We contacted the agency, NTA, and they said, now its time has gone, now let them attempt Canara Bank. And we allowed them to attempt Canara Bank. The principal of the school is on record, and we can run the video just now. Now, in order to overcome of this, because they, after allowing the Hardayal school people to attempt Canara Bank paper all the time, they also gave them the grace marks. And they are not able to justify, because yesterday when this question was put to them,
marks now are over because
that's right. Look, what I say, look, that's a different issue. What I say is there is absolutely no place in system. Somebody attempted Canara Bank paper, the entire 3 hours and 20 minutes, NTA grants them grace marks. Then they unilaterally withdraw the grace marks, and before this honorable court, they say, we committed a mistake, we committed a blunder, now we are withdrawing it, we are having a retest. This honorable court, the other coordinate bench, only says that, all right, you are withdrawing grace marks, you are having a re-examination. Fine, go ahead with it. But there is no adjudication that how they picked up 1,563 people, first to give grace marks and then to withdraw and a re-examination. There is another important fact, my lord, which they have not brought to my lord's notice. Out of this 1,563, 773 people were those people who could not make it even 164 marks. They were failed. After compensatory marks, they could not get even 164. They were allowed the re-examination. All students have to be put at par. And ultimately, Hardayal school participated in re-examination. Now, with regard to 3,307, they say the Canara paper was given. I want to demonstrate that for their percentage, there are no two question papers which are at par with each other. Cannot be, in my humble submission. And this Canara paper, of course, they knew that is not to be used, but wrongly used. Now, curiously, in this 2-page note, they say, out of 3,307 candidates, 7 candidates have secured more than 622 marks, which corresponds to the top 56 rank, success rate 0.05. How they have picked up entire data placed before this honorable court today by the learned Solicitor General is with reference to 164 marks. For this 3,300, the reference point is 622 marks. And 622 marks out of 56,000 candidates. Probably this is the best picture they could paint here. Now, there is how these 60, what is the average of SBI paper, people securing 164 marks? And what is the average of people who attempted Canara Bank? How many on the touchstone of 164 marks? They have not given this data. So there is no parallel. Can't be. So this vitiates the integrity. Now, going, I'm just rapidly wrapping up. Going back to Rajasthan, Savai Madhopur and Ghaziabad. These students, they say late loss of time. The same day, the answer, the OMR sheets. Now they say that, all right, all these people, these invigilators and city coordinators are all private people, but we control them through CCTV camera. They are on affidavit before this honorable court saying that we got to know at 4:30 from social media that there was a loss of time in Savai Madhopur because a wrong medium question paper was given. Where is the CCTV camera? Why couldn't they come to know that there is a wrong question paper given to the people for 2.5 hours? And the reliance is on social media for this. The same thing happened in Ghaziabad. So what is their system in place? Another thing, my lord, I found and pointed it out, which they have not responded back. Now, after, my lord, how we have seen that certain centers are performing extremely well, especially, my lord, now the comparison the Solicitor General was drawing between quota and seeker. My lord, quota and seeker, the same amount of the total candidates were the same 27,000 at both places. But my lord, may kindly see the difference in the result between quota and seeker. It's more than 50% in every respect, on all angles. So the seeker has an advantage. Now, how it is happening, and my lord, maybe it is happening consistently. This time they are caught. The argument was that if we see the data with reference to the previous year, 2022-23, this time is no bump. I say this is happening consistently, even maybe previous years, because after 520, what is the mechanism? They have prescribed in the SOP that how soon the OMR sheet will be sealed. The question paper, my lord, the students can take out. These are the schools with no boundary wall, my lord. We have seen out of 49, only one is Kendriya Vidyalaya. There is no government school. There is no government teacher. There is no police involved there. And now after 520, the OMR sheet and the question paper is there with the invigilator and the center superintendent. Can't they have a teacher, biology teacher, physics teacher there in the center and say, now we will deposit it in the city center somewhere and we can deposit it by 8:30, and in the meantime, all right, if not more, let them attempt 10 more questions. And look, all of them are not for MBBS, because the merit goes, the people who get admission, the merit goes even up to more than 10 lakh in the BAMS and dental colleges, etc. BDS. Last time, I'm told it went up to about 12 lakh. So we are looking for the spots where the people are getting 100% or 700 or 650. No, Lord, this is also a breach. If somebody is able to attempt 10 or 20 more questions. So the system, I would say there is no system in place. And it is too easy to manipulate. And with this kind of a system which the NTA has adopted, their own roll, their employees are about 22, about 33 are on deputation. And rest is all they keep on issuing checks from here. Some videographer in seeker is hired, check is given, and now how good the job is performed, there is nothing to monitor. No, my lord, and the examination with this kind of checks and balances, I would say it's completely farce and can't be upheld. And my lord, just one thing to add. Now, it is a coincidence, my lord, I read to this honorable court the news item which showed the e-rickshaw. Straight away, the news item was CBI, my lord, CBI is here, they will confirm that this e-rickshaw carrying the question paper, my lord, because question paper, this is a test booklet which contains.
Report number 3 gives that photo, clarifying that it's not a question paper, it is the OMR sheet.
My lord, if I can clarify, just
There are 129, the same photograph saying that this.
Mr. Mehta, just hold on, I'm just wrapping up in 2 minutes.
Yeah,
Lord, what the submission is now,
you
see, I didn't
in my
I didn't take
status
that.
report.
My submission is, Lord, there is a report and let the CBI respond to it with no filters in between.
ई रिक्शा के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं कि ई रिक्शा में वो कह रहे हैं कि ये OMR नहीं थी.
OMR sheet and question paper is in the same envelope, my lord, has it. It is never ever separate.
Right.
And the report specific is that instead of, Lord, this courier, private courier company, instead of taking the question paper on 3rd of May directly to the SBI and Canara Bank, it took it to straight away to this Oasis school where the breach take place on 3rd of May. Now, what is the investigation on that angle? Lord, if I can invite Lord kind attention to the news item, this is Times of India. Lord,
first supplementary.
Lord, page 12 of my first supplementary note, I have placed the Times of India report. If I can, Lord, just read a few lines from here. The sources told TOI that CBI attention turned to Oasis School located in Mandai Road, Kali Chowk, and its staff. The agency began gathering digital evidence and discovered that e-rickshaw had gone directly to Oasis School on May 3rd instead of proceeding to the SBI main branch where it was supposed to be stored. This is a report quoted by Times of India from the source of CBI. Now, what they say, except saying that it is because the report is somewhere below the e-rickshaw, Indian Express says it is OMR. OMR, will not go into trunks. Let me explain this. As per their case, after examination at 5:20, the OMRs are to be collected. They have prescribed a specific cloth under which those are to be sealed, and those are to be given to the city center. There is one center in the city where all this is to be deposited. Hazaribagh, what was the center at Hazaribagh where these OMR sheets were to be finally deposited? And how come this, again, it is being, e-rickshaw is taking these OMR sheets? In a center, if there are, I do not know how many students are there in this Oasis school, but even if there are 200, 300 people, these are 300 pages. Those 300 pages will not go into the trunks and e-rickshaw. There is something which do not meet the eyes of this honorable court. Everything is not placed before this court. So, they have not come clean with regard to Ghaziabad. They have, yesterday, saw it with regard to Bahadurgarh. They first said Hardyal school, they attempted full-time Canara Bank paper. They said that for the other centers, we gave the grace marks. Then today they say, no, the other centers, we didn't give the grace marks because there was a loss of time. We gave them the extra time. Now, who decided? There was a loss of time maybe in Ghaziabad, loss of time in Rajasthan, Savai Madhopur. There they did not give extra time to attempt the same question paper. They asked the student to rewrite between 6 to 9. And in Bahadurgarh, some superintendent, all these private people, they took a decision that, all right, we extend it for 1 hour or half an hour. May kindly send for the files as to who was competent to take this decision, who actually took those decisions. Are the principals of the school taking these decisions? How they picked up and chose 1,563 people? Who took those decisions? What are the file notings? What are the communications? Their only object as of now seems to be that anyhow we persuade this honorable court to sustain the examination, come whatever may. The entire confidence that the leak is limited is born from the fact that accused are saying that it is not beyond Patna. Why would the accused will confess that we have 100 other post-dated checks which are lying somewhere else and we had supplied question paper somewhere else also? At least CBI did not sound that confident that there is nothing beyond Patna. The expression used was so far. So, my lord, I would at the end conclude by saying this: there is absolutely no sanctity left. There is no SOP, there is no system fix that how soon the OMR sheet is to be sealed. My lord, I'm sorry to repeat it. And there is no system. Lord, may kindly notice this. There is no time frame given for sealing of OMR sheet in their SOP, which I have placed on record. They did not think it appropriate to find that if somebody living in Gujarat is applying for Maharashtra and giving address of Maharashtra, why wouldn't they ask the candidate to submit a proof? Lord, we go for a ration card, they ask for a proof. For an Aadhaar card, Lord, Aadhaar card is almost everyone. Lord, I'm sure all these 22 lakh candidates had the Aadhaar card with them. Why they're permitting this kind of malaise in the system? So grateful. Much obliged.
Lordship.
Mr. Hegde?
Please, please.
मिस्टर हेगड़े इज आल्सो हियर, जिन्होंने कल बहुत अच्छा
Just
सबमिशन
moment,
दिया
in
था, वो
fact,
भी कुछ सबमिट
would I
करना चाहते हैं, ध्यान से सुनना।
substantially
Yes,
argue
yes, yes,
that?
yes.
Just one
So,
टुडे विल बी
bullet
द
point.
फाइनल जजमेंट डे बेटा, मोस्ट प्रोबब्ली
Your
आज आ
Lordship's
जाएगा, नहीं तो मैक्सिमम
question.
कल।
that today, given the situation that the investigation is incomplete, the investigators have told your lordships that it is possible that about 155 students alone were involved, only 155. It is not fair to upset nearly 24 lakh students. That is the question that your lordships had. Would it be in those circumstances fair to upset the entire exam? Lords, firstly, my lords, what your lordships should examine is what has come out in this hearing so far. Has it reassured your lordships that a fair exam was indeed held? That when there was unfairness which was reported, was it fairly investigated? And what the investigating agency has told your lordship, that it took place at a very brief point of time on the day of the exam, and therefore the contamination was very limited. Is that something which your lordship would place reliance on? I'm going by exactly what the CBI said. The CBI says that there is an organized mafia in these matters. They work on a business proposition. 3 months prior itself, they have sent out their agents saying, if you are willing to pay, we will get you the paper. And we will see to it that you get a rank of your choice. Now, what the CBI has told you is that the leak has occurred between 8:02 and 9:26 on the morning of the 5th. When one Mr. Pankaj Kumar goes into that room in Hazaribagh, extracts the paper, takes photographs, reseals it in that envelope, closes the trunk, comes out, and only thereafter physically goes to another place in Hazaribagh, gives it to the solvers, or from outside after. So that takes it to around, from 9:26, it takes it to 9:30. Your lordships will mark the timeline from 9:30 to 12:30. That is the timeline that the CBI has told your lordships. At 9:30, if the papers, photographs are either taken physically or WhatsApped, then the solvers are split, and let's give them another half an hour to answer 30 questions, 20 questions each that they get. That takes it to 10. Between 10 and 12, because 12:30 they dropped off back. Students are supposed to have read the papers and memorized it, and then gone. Now, my lords, for that uncertain chance of 2 hours, which parent will pay 30 lakhs to 75 lakhs in advance? Please take just that. That is why it is implausible.
They just put their final submission बेटा। ये सारे lawyers वो हैं, हुडा साहब, हेगड़े साहब, इन्होंने कल भी बहुत अच्छा submission दिया था कि क्यों re-neet is the best idea, because they are saying investigation is still incomplete. ये कहना कि सिर्फ 155 तक ही पेपर पहुंचा है, ये अभी कंफर्म नहीं हुआ है क्योंकि अभी तो मास्टरमाइंड इज नॉट येट अरेस्टेड, ठीक है। तो ये सोचकर पेपर को स्क्रैप ना करना कि 155 बच्चों के लिए 24 लाख बच्चों को क्यों परेशान किया जाए, लेकिन लेटर ऑन अगर ये प्रूफ हो जाता है, क्योंकि सीबीआई इज नॉट वेरी श्योर येट, सीबीआई भी यही कह रही है कि सो फार वी हैव फाउंड ओनली इन हजारीबाग एंड पटना, बट व्हाट अबाउट फ्यूचर, हो सकता है फ्यूचर में वो अरेस्ट हो जाए, फ्यूचर में उसके फोन से पता चले कि वो और ज्यादा उसने शेयर किया था, क्योंकि इट्स मैटर ऑफ मनी, वो जितना पैसा हिटना चाहे वहां से कर सकता था। अब वो ये कह रहे हैं कि जो अरेस्टेड लोग हैं, आप उसके कहने पे जा रहे हो, अरेस्टेड वाले ने बोला कि मैंने इतने ही बच्चों को भेजा है, ऑब्वियसली अरेस्टेड वाला आगे ये तो नहीं बोलेगा कि मैंने 1000 बच्चों को और भेज दिया है, क्योंकि वो ऑलरेडी अरेस्टेड है, वो चाहेगा कि उसकी सजा कम से कम हो। अगर वो बिल्कुल ही एक्सपोज कर देगा कि मैंने 1000 बच्चों को भेजा, या मैंने ऐसे व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में शेयर किया हुआ है जहां पे ऑलरेडी 5000 बच्चे थे, मैंने इतने लोगों से पोस्ट डेटेड चेक है, वो आके अरेस्टेड पर्सन विल नेवर टेल कि इसके अलावा भी मेरे पास पोस्ट डेटेड चेक है। तो आप सिर्फ उसके कहने पर, उसकी जो स्टेटमेंट है, अरेस्टेड पर्सन के स्टेटमेंट पे मान लेना कि मैंने सिर्फ इतने ही पोस्ट डेटेड चेक लिए हैं, मैंने सिर्फ 100 बच्चों को ही दिया है पेपर, मैंने सिर्फ 155 को ही दिया है, दैट इज नॉट राइट। क्योंकि इस तरीके से बैकडोर से एंट्री हो रही है बच्चों की जो मेडिकल में जा रहे हैं, कह रहे इस साल तो हमें पता चल गया, हो सकता है ऐसा पहले भी हो गया हुआ होगा। बेसिकली व्हाट ही इज ट्राइंग टू से कि देयर इज नो सिस्टम इन प्लेस, कोई इनके एसओपी में, एनटीए की एसओपी में कहीं एक फ्रेमवर्क में नहीं था कि ओएमआर सील होने के बाद कितने टाइम में वो पहुंचनी चाहिए अपने सेंटर पे। जब सेंटर चेंज का इन्होंने पोर्टल ओपन किया तो ये कोई प्रूफ नहीं मांग रहे हैं कि मेरा अगर डोमिसाइल दिल्ली का है तो मैं बिहार जाकर पेपर क्यों दूं, कोई प्रूफ बेटा जी यहाँ पर नहीं मांगा गया है। और इन्होंने ये भी बोला, हुडा साहब ने इससे पहले ये भी बोला कि हरदयाल स्कूल में तो इनफैक्ट प्रिंसिपल का प्रॉपर स्टेटमेंट है कि कोई डिले नहीं हुआ था एग्जाम कंडक्ट कराने में, फिर भी उन बच्चों को ग्रेस नंबर दिए गए। तो अपनी मर्जी से वो कह रहे हैं कि एनटीए इज जस्ट, जैसे जैसे चीजें पता चल रही हैं वैसे वैसे उस पर पर्दा डाल रहे हैं। ग्रेस नंबर पे क्वेश्चन उठे, ग्रेस नंबर खुद से हटा दिए, खुद से एक री एग्जाम कंडक्ट करा दिया, खुद से उसका रिजल्ट भी कंडक्ट करा दिया, ठीक है। एंड सवाई माधोपुर में ये हम ऐसे एग्जाम की इंटेग्रिटी, ऐसा ये बोल रहे हैं, हम ऐसे एग्जाम की इंटेग्रिटी पर कैसे भरोसा करें जो एग्जाम में एक बच्चे, वन सेट ऑफ स्टूडेंट, जो सवाई माधोपुर के स्टूडेंट थे उनके पास जो पेपर था वो 6 घंटे के लिए था, और एक बाकी के जो बच्चे हैं, बाकी के 23 लाख 24 लाख बच्चे हैं, उनको उसी पेपर को 3 घंटे 20 मिनट में करना था। सवाई माधोपुर में जो बच्चे थे उनको उसी पेपर को 6 घंटे दिए गए। तो कैन वी ट्रस्ट द इंटेग्रिटी, कैन वी ट्रस्ट द सैंक्टिटी ऑफ दिस एग्जाम, जिस एग्जाम के द्वारा हम अपने देश का भविष्य बना रहे हैं। हम सिर्फ डॉक्टर नहीं बना रहे बेटा, हम फ्यूचर में देश का भविष्य बनाने वाले हैं, क्योंकि यही हेल्थ केयर है जो एक देश को ऊपर लेकर जाता है। तो दैट इज वाई दे आर टेकिंग देयर गुड इनफ टाइम कि क्या करना चाहिए। अब क्या पूरे ऑल ओवर इंडिया रीनीट कंडक्ट होना चाहिए 24 लाख बच्चों के लिए, या फिर सिर्फ क्वालिफाइड कैंडिडेट्स, यानी कि 164 से ऊपर वाला बच्चा हमारा क्वालिफाइड कैंडिडेट होता है, उसके लिए रीनीट कंडक्ट होना चाहिए, या फिर रीनीट के अलावा रीटेस्ट, री इवैल्यूएशन ऑफ एग्जाम रिजल्ट होना चाहिए ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ दैट फिजिक्स क्वेश्चन। तभी अब तक फिजिक्स क्वेश्चन पर भी कोई इन्होंने नहीं बताया है कि किसको नंबर मिलेंगे, किसको कितने नंबर मिलेंगे। अभी सिर्फ एक प्रपोजल है कि 4 जिसने क्लिक किया उसको करेक्ट दे दो, जिसने 2 क्लिक किया है उसके नेगेटिव मार्किंग हटा दो, लेकिन वो तभी वैलिड होगा अगर रीनीट नहीं होता। अगर रीनीट हो जाता है तो पूरा का पूरा पेपर स्क्रैप हो जाएगा। तो व्हाट हुडा सर एंड द हेगड़े सर दे आर ट्राइंग टू टेल इज कि इन्वेस्टिगेशन पूरी नहीं है, सिस्टम अच्छे से फ्लॉड है, हर चीज के ऊपर पर्दे डाले जा रहे हैं। इस वजह से ये अभी ये मान लेना कि सिर्फ 155 बच्चों को ही फायदा हुआ है, दैट इज नॉट राइट। दे स्टिल फील कि इन्वेस्टिगेशन और होनी चाहिए। एंड अगर बाद में पता चला, अगर आज हमने 155 को मान लिया, रीनीट नहीं कंडक्ट कराया, बाद में अगर मुझे पता चलता है कि 1000 तक था, ये 2000 तक था, या 2 लाख, व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में बेटा कहां से कहां पेपर पहुंच जाता है। इनफैक्ट दे आर सेइंग कि अगर 5 मई को भी सुबह भी अगर लीक हुआ है, सुबह भी लीक हुआ है, तो भी 2 घंटे बहुत होते हैं इस पेपर को फैलने में, सॉल्व करके उन सॉल्व क्वेश्चन के आंसर को वहां पर चीटिंग के फॉर्म में मतलब प्रेजेंट करने में बहुत होते हैं ये 2 घंटे। तो दिस इज व्हाट द टीम हैज प्रेजेंटेड। ई रिक्शा की भी इन्होंने बात की कि ई रिक्शा को 3 तारीख को पेपर लेकर जाना चाहिए था। सबसे पहले तो ई रिक्शा में जो फोटो है वो कह रहे हैं ओएमआर की है, वो कह रहे हैं मान लिया हमने ओएमआर की फोटो है, वो जो पर्सन ई रिक्शा चला रहे थे उन्होंने जो फोटो क्लिक कराई वो कह रहे ओएमआर की है, बट वो ये कह रहे ओएमआर भी तो क्वेश्चन पेपर के अंदर ही होती है। OMR अलग से बंडल तो नहीं गए थे, तो मतलब क्वेश्चन पेपर खुला, चलिए मान लीजिए खुला नहीं खुला, लेकिन वो ई रिक्शा जानी चाहिए थी बैंक में, 3 तारीख को बैंक में जानी थी, जबकि टाइम्स ऑफ इंडिया की रिपोर्ट कहती है कि ई रिक्शा बैंक की जगह सीधा ओएसएस स्कूल में ही गई, और वही ओएसएस स्कूल हजारीबाग का है जहां पर एनटीए ने खुद माना है कि सीसीटीवी में पकड़ा गया है कि सुबह 8 बजे से लेकर 8:02 से लेकर 9:23 तक वहां पर एक पर्सन अंदर गया था, उसने फोटोग्राफ खींची, चाहे फोन में खींची, चाहे डिजिटल कैमरा में खींची, और वो कितनी स्प्रेड हुई अभी तक 155 बच्चे, लेकिन फ्यूचर का किसी को नहीं पता है। यस बच्चों, तो इसी पर इतना चर्चा हो रही है। यस, कुछ भी हो सकता है बेटा, इस टाइम पर बहुत सारे ऐसे आर्ग्यूमेंट्स भी हैं जो एनटीए के अगेंस्ट जा रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं सिस्टेमिक फेलियर तो देखिए है, बट आई बिलीव आप सबको अपना ओपिनियन नो डाउट होना चाहिए सबका, लेकिन हमें अपनी जुडिशरी पर भी पूरा ट्रस्ट करना चाहिए, वो जो भी निर्णय लेंगे वो आप सबके हित में ही लेंगे, वो ऐसा कभी नहीं सोचेंगे कि एक पर्सन को उसका बेनिफिट हो या 2 को हो, लेकिन अगर नहीं प्रूव हो पा रहा है टेंटेड कौन है अनटेंटेड कौन है, इन दैट केस देयर कुड बी अ वेरी स्लाइट चांस ऑफ री-नीट ऑल्सो, बट लेट्स सी, डिसीजन आज आता है कल आता है, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली आज आ जाना चाहिए, बिकॉज जैसे ही लंच टाइम ओवर हुआ था इन्होंने क्लियरली बोल दिया था कि मेनी लैक्स ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स आर वेटिंग फॉर द जजमेंट, बिकॉज उनको देखना है कि वो आगे प्रिपेयर करे अगले साल के लिए या फिर इस साल के लिए दोबारा तैयारी करे, नीट 2024 के लिए तैयारी करे, क्योंकि जो जजमेंट आ जाएगा ना बेटा वो सिर्फ आपके लिए नहीं है, आपको लग रहा है 2024 के लिए, बट दिस इज गोइंग टू इम्पैक्ट 2025 स्टूडेंट्स, आने वाले सारे फ्यूचर बैचेस के लिए एक एग्जाम्पल सेट होने वाला है इस बारी का जजमेंट, सो दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट।
Please, Maluds. Now, Maluds, I do not have the benefit of any of the reports, but I am going by the first FIR which the Patna police registered, and I submit to your lordships that where it is clear that on the night of the 4th, the students had solved papers and were asked to memorize, and despite all that, they still failed. So obviously, when preparations are made for people to pass exams or to get a good rank, they need adequate time. This kind of timeline does not work. This brief 2-hour intervention, my lords, is not plausible. And in fact, the OSS school from where it was, where this leak happened, there is a video of the principal saying that when the earlier EOU asked, showed him how this had happened, their conclusion seemed to be that the leakage happened before the papers went into the bank. There is a video of the man when he was not under arrest. The leakage has probably happened on the 3rd. It happens in Hazaribagh. It is caught in Patna. And it is at the behest of Sanjeev Mukhya, who has not only a history of conducting leaks, he is now a big investor in leaks. Yeah? My lords,
That now, Mr. Wood
yes,
has argued.
that he's argued.
Anything else that you have to add?
Please, my lords. The question is, what is the precedent that 3 of your lordships will hold? Most of the judgments that your lordships have delivered are 2-judge judgments. And if your lordships were to be called upon to say that, look, this much of a leak or of a localized leak is not something which we will interfere in, and which we will possibly say, for want of a better term, wink at, then as a lawyer, I might tell your lordships that for the next 20, 30 years, we will be forever striving to say, no, this is not a leak of that kind, this is a leak of this kind, and it is such a small one. So
you.
there, my lords, just before I end, my lords, this precedent point came up much earlier, where the argument was made as the solicitors made. And I beseech you, rest once the law to your authority to do a great right, do a little wrong. And Portia's answer was, it must not be. There's no power in Venice can alter a decree established. It will be recorded for a precedent. And many an error by the same example will rush into the state. It must not be.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Agri.
I'm
Yes,
grateful.
my lord. I wanted to answer one question of Justice Pardivada and Justice
Mr.
Lordship's
Matthews
question. And when the questions are raised, any member of the bar who was actively participating in the discussion can certainly answer it. And I did not do anything wrong. And I'm sorry, I was unfairly treated. That's a different story. Now, that's a different story. Let me come into the case.
Make your submission.
Coming to the state. Yeah, my lord. Now, I'm amazed by the kind of discussions which has been going on here. We have been conducting a criminal trial. We are going to the niceties. We have called the CBI. But solicit what kind of discussions which have been going on. The issue is, you ask a common man, a man in the street, there is an examination leak. I came, my petition, I said only one thing. There has been a leak. A leak has been happened, then there is no alternative. There is no alternative than a retest. It certainly leaves inconvenience. Certainly. And only thing that can be thought of is how to reduce inconvenience. And I made a suggestion, which my friend also adopted, that this test be conducted as a NEET preliminary examination. 13 lakh students are qualified. And they be taken for the final examination. And this is an administrative issue. Today, because of PILs, etc., we treat many things which are in the realm of falling in the exclusive realm of governance into the court. And my lord, therefore, this is something the government did a great injustice to the court. The government it was their problem. It was a issue of governance, and the government very conveniently did not raise the maintainability of these petitions. Allowed questions, the detailed arguments to be made for days and days, and they are literally shunning away from their responsibility. There is a government. This is an issue concerning lakhs of people. It is a call of the minister. It is a call of the government, and the government has failed to. I'm not anti-BJP man. In fact, I supported BJP. I advocated for voting for BJP. I should have. But what happened today? This is something utterly, I'm not using a very strong expression, unacceptable. The government of the day is accountable to the people. When your lordship, I always say, when your lordship takes a decision, my lord, that only binds the parties before you. When a parliament takes a decision, we are all present in the parliament, and we are symbolically present in the parliament. It binds all of us. In the last couple of years, the governance, what the parliament ought to do, what the government ought to do, the courts are forced to do. Courts are forced to do. Therefore, my lord, the question today is, what is the given situation, what is to be done? Admittedly, there is a leak. And this leaves no option than to cancel the examination, as rightly Justice Vikamnath has said, 0.00% doubt, examination has to be cancelled. And that is the only option. This is a matter which should have been concluded in 20 minutes. And good that we spend a good lot of time. I'm no quarrel about it. And therefore, my advice to the court is that court should not enter into the domain of the executive. Let the government do its job. Let the government answer to the people. The parliament is going on. Session is going on. The very NEET issue is before the parliament. And here is a Solicitor General. He doesn't even oppose. I'm for the petitioner. I'm strongly advocating the cancellation of this examination. Still, I said, as a matter of principle, a lawyer has to speak about the fundamental constitutional principle. A fundamental constitutional principle is that these are our administrative issues, And if, assuming that the government, at least the matter should have been relegated to the government should have directed to take a decision. And the government, if supposing that the government has taken a decision after hearing both of us, parties affected, not only those who are asking for cancellation of the examination, but also those who are asking for non-cancellation of the examination, because they are the one who stand to benefit by the results. Both parties, to the extent possible, unlike a court, the government is under no obligation to hear everybody. Because the government represents the people, and therefore no obligation to hear everybody. But court, when a court decides a matter, it is under a duty to, my lords, listen to everybody. Otherwise, my lord, the resinter alios acta, altori, nosori, non-debate. Court has no jurisdiction to bind anybody who is not before it. So having this fundamental principle being stated, and whenever every PAL comes before this court should certainly adjust to itself. The people affected are not here, and we don't represent the people of this country. And these issues concerning the public at large cannot be decided behind the back of them. These proceedings are not representative proceedings. These are proceedings, in my case, 16 students were affected by it. Therefore, my lord, when this case came, the only option is to throw the ball back to the government's court, and the government to take a call on the question of cancellation. And the government would have done it in moments' time. It wouldn't have been able to justify this examination, not even one moment. The government would have come with the conclusion, the decision to cancel it forthwith. And the government conveniently, very conveniently, saying that is a non-adjudicatory, the Solicitor General says, non-adjudicatory litigation. What is that? Non-adjudicatory. There is nothing like non-adjudicatory. Court's job is to decide disputes. Court's duty is to decide disputed questions of fact and apply the law. If the issues are non-adjudicatory, there is nothing. It is administrative. And my lord, I conclude by saying one word.
Conclusion.
My lord, I forgive your lordship for all the insult to me and my lord, humiliation. I forgive your lordship, Lord, forgive them for they not know what they are doing. I have nothing in my mind. I have the greatest of regard for your lordships and lordship Padiwala also. I have the greatest of regard, though I was insulted. I don't keep anything in my mind. But my lord, this NEET examination has to be cancelled forthwith. It cannot be delayed 1 minute, because precious time of the students are lost, and a fresh examination has to be conducted forthwith. And it is for the government to decide whether it has to be for the 13 lakh students who was selected, or it has to be for a lesser number. And these are areas where the court should step in, because what is governing the matters of administration, but those in governance alone come to know about it. Somebody said certainly NEET is a very loosely conducted, all outsourced. But that is true. But in a governance, outsourcing is necessary, without which no government can function. Everything, the NEET department cannot do it. So most of the things which my friend Hoda and Sanjay Khadge argued, with respect, I disagree with that. And only my submission is, this is an issue which should be thrown to the government's court. Let them decide. Let them decide. Let the parliament is gone. Let them answer to the parliament. And let them not shirk their responsibility and throw all public issues to the court's domain. Because I say so, because average time which an ordinary litigant who comes for a grievances is 93 seconds. When I come to your lordships for a SLP, it is dismissed in 93 seconds. And I had a recent incident where my SLP was dismissed even 60 seconds. So therefore, we have to revisit it. The PAL business has to be discouraged. And only petitions, here, at least affected parties are there. My petition is not PAL. My petition is somebody who is seeking declaration of their fundamental rights. And my lord, I conclude, the research has to be cancelled, examination has to be contested. Greatly obliged.
Please, just 2 minutes.
Your Lordships.
Lords, your
Finally
Lordships
concluded.
asked a question to my learned senior Lords, that in this situation, what your Lordships, Lords, should be doing in case whether the investigation is yet not complete. Because this has been answered, Lords, in that judgment which I referred yesterday. I just want to repeat a paragraph so that will assist your Lordships. Lords, before that, Lords, that Tanvi Sarwal was, Lords, not cited, my lords, before your lordships, my lords, in the Sachin Kumar's judgment, my lords. I tried to check it.
ये बता
That's
रहे हैं कि
also
ऐसा
two judge
पहले भी
bench
हुआ
judgment.
था,
This is also two
जिसमें
judge bench judgment. So
investigation
this was not
pending थी, तो
cited before your
पहले क्या
lordships. That's what
judgment
I
आया था,
could.
याद
No, but
करवा रहे हैं.
the subsequent judgment which I decided
Yes, ma'am.
was a case where the government had decided to cancel the
Yes,
entire
yes.
exam.
So here,
So there was no question
Yes,
of the court being there required
Yes,
to cancel exam.
So,
The legality of the decision of the government to cancel the entire exam wasn't called into question. in
please,
the
my
court. That was
lords,
that-
here like we are not able to, my lords, segregate the tainted from the my lords, the good people, my lords. Just lordships, you may see paragraph 18, my lords. If lordship wants, I can. Request. Para 18, my lords. 2015 6
पुराना
SCC
जजमेंट बता रहे
573.
हैं कि जब ऐसा केस हुआ था
The same situation
तब क्या
before your
हुआ था?
lordships, my lords, as in today, my lords. My lords, third line, my lords, though as on date 44 such candidates have been identified, having regard to the modus operandi put in place, the number of cell phones and other devices used, it is not unlikely that the many more candidates have availed such undue advantage. So, my lords, many more.
Para 15 is relevant. Para 15, 1-5.
Let's read para 15 and then.
Yes, my lord, yes.
Yes. The investigating agency in its report has stated in clear terms that from the disclosure recorded, it is beyond doubt that the strategy of providing answer key has been executed by an organized gang with a network spreading over different parts of the country. The Inspector General of Police, who was present in this with his team, having been granted the leave, submitted that the investigation is full swing and in progress, etc., etc. It was their case that it's pan-India.
So, my lords, here today the situation is they themselves are saying, my lords, that we are yet to investigate further. Now that is also looked into in paragraph 18 if your lordship sees.
Right, let's see.
Yes, my lords. Though as on date 44 such candidates have been identified, having
So the
regard-
last line he says, frankly, admitted that in process it might not be possible to identify. But it's an all India issue.
Para 18 now, let's.
Yes, sir. Para 18, third line, my lords. Though as on date 44 such candidates have been identified, having regard to the modus operandi put in place, the number of cell phones and other devices used, it is not unlikely that many more candidates have availed such undue advantage being a part of the overall design, and in the process have been unduly benefited qua the other students who had made sincere and genuine endeavors to solve the answer papers on the
Right,
basis of
last
their
time.
devoted preparation and hard labor. In view of the widespread network that has operated, as my lord, in this case it appears so, as the status report disclosed and the admission of person arrested, including some beneficiary candidates, we are of the opinion that in view of the strong possibility of the identification of other candidates as well involved in such malpractices, that examination has become a suspect. As it is, the system of examination pursued over the decades has been accepted by all who are rational, responsible, and sensible to be an accredited one for
पुरानी judgment read कर रहे हैं
comparative
बेटा।
evaluation of the merit
यहाँ पर
and
ऐसा ही
worth
case
of
था।
candidates vying for high academic pursuits. It is thus necessary for all the role players in the process to secure and sustain the confidence of the public in general and students fraternity in particular in the system by its unquestionable trustworthiness. Such a system is endorsed because of the credibility informed with guarantee of fairness, transparency, authenticity, and sanctity. There cannot be any compromise within this imperative at any cost.
Also he read.
So, my lords, even at the cost of 44 students and a possibility of more people being found, so your lordships
तो ये कह रहे हैं
did
2015 में
set aside.
44 students
My
की
learned,
वजह से
the learned
ही
solicitor
re-neet
general
हुआ
said
था।
2 lakhs. Because my information is there were 6 lakh students. This is the same API, all India pre-medical test, the same which was to happen before NEET started.
Right.
And it is to be conducted by CBSE. In that,
Just read.
yes, my lords.
तो कह रहे 2015
Para
में
19,
CBSE PMT
segregation
तो
only of
44
already
बच्चों के लिए
44
दोबारा हुआ था।
identified candidates stated to be the beneficiaries of the unprincipled maneuver by withholding their results for the time being, in our comprehension, cannot be the solution to the problem that contours all of us, that confronts all of us. Not only thereby, if the process is allowed to advance, it would be pushed to the vortex of a litigation pertaining thereto in the foreseeable future. The prospects of candidates would not only remain uncertain and tentative, they would also remain plagued with the prolonged anguish and anxiety if involved in the ordeal of court cases. Acting on this option would, in our estimate, amount to driving knowingly the students who are not at fault to an uncertain future with their academic career in jeopardy on many counts. Further, there would also be lurking possibility of unidentified beneficiaries of the candidates stealing a march over them on the basis of the advantages availed by them through the underhand dealings as revealed. Having regard to the fact that the course involved with time would yield the future generations of the doctors of the country who would be in charge of the public health, their inherent merit to quality for taking the course can by no means be compromised. So, my lords, even if 10 to 20,000 students come up in the front and I am pushed outside the 1,08,000, my lords, ultimately my chances. Lords,
Anybody else?
only one more
Your
thing.
Lordship,
Lords,
Lordship,
one more thing. Lords, your Lordships yesterday had indicated the issue which I said, my lords, the OMR sheet issue. Your Lordship said it's a personal issue, my lords, an individual client.
इन्होंने 2015 का जजमेंट दोबारा सुनाया है कि आपको हेल्प होगी
Plus the
decision लेने
OMR
में।
issue, my lords, sorry.
तो इन्होंने क्लियरली बोला है कि अगर
Because the
44
OMR issue, because in fact, it appears to be a part of the systematic failure because it's not only my client, because she has not given she has not been given the OMR sheet. Because when the OMR sheet, when she got initially, she calculated it came to 650, around 650. But when the result came, it is 103. They have been emailing to the NTA, give the OMR sheet. They have not given till now, my lords. So, my lords, and others also.
Lordship, my one submission is a very important thing to say. Lordships, then my solicitors and CBI entire focused only here the
Like,
Hazaribagh and Patna. Lordship, it is the not focused here the 5 layers scams. Point number 1. Lordships, there is the before of the examinations. Point number 1. It means there is 9 February, 16 months before. Second is Lordships, when notifications came, it means there is the forms, filling forms. It means 9 February to 16 March. In which regions a lot of candidates appeared in the different centers.
chance
Next
मिल रहा
is
है बेटा
third
सबको
layer
अपना अपना
is
submission
Lordships.
देने का,
The
क्योंकि उसके बाद
examination
अब
dated,
decision है।
it means the conducting jobs 5 May. 5 May in which regions a lot of candidates, some are the belong from the Odisha to appeared in the some other places. In which regions, Lordships, it is the SBI and Canara banks and other types of the issues. It is the not given in the submit is the reports. Third is the Lordship, the after examinations. There are a lot of issues in which regions the 720 marks which is got by this out of the 720s, 718, 719, 600 and above. And Lordships and others issue the 4 and 6 layers. The Lordship, my humble submissions, please Lordships, on the behalf of the petitioners, Lordships, please reconduct the exams.
My Lord, in item submissions for the applicants in IA number
They can't take a judgment
137554
without
of
listening to
2004.
everyone. So they are just
That's,
giving last chance.
we also,
ताकि final
stand
judgment पे आ
for
पाएं।
some of the candidates who have secured high marks. But one submission I would like to make, so far as a leak or theft elsewhere than the 2 or 3 identified places are concerned, I would submit that a decision may not be based on suspicion or conjunctures, because these are all matters to be proved beyond reasonable doubt. I would like to suggest one decision, my lords. A year 1994 Supreme Court 626. A year 1994 Supreme Court 626, where at paragraph 44, the lordships referred to the Privy Council decision. Of course, it concerned fraud alleged in a civil proceeding. Now, it is held at paragraph 44, my lords. Mary, in so and so, a year 1941, Privy Council 93.
What is the name of the case?
Lords, it is, Svenska Handelsbanken Appellant versus Indian Charge Crop and others.
Susan bank guarantee.
Not bank guarantee. So that's right.
Fraud or bank guarantee?
I only submitted that it concerns allegation of fraud in a civil proceeding.
Fraud and that was the reason. You got your point. Thank you.
Proof,
Your Lordship.
one more submission, Lord. One more submission, Lord. So far as the question, the particular question is concerned, eligibility for NEET test is the board examination. The board examination prescribed the NCRT books. And many of the students who are following the NCRT books, which provided both the answers. Therefore, both the answers given by the students are based on the NCRT books, which is the basis for the basic examination for the NEET test. Therefore, they may not be, that question may not be deleted, and therefore the students who gave the correct answer may be given the marks that are due to them. That's all my conclusion.
Lordship, I am appearing
Appearing
for
in
successful petitioners in IA number 140031.
You don't want a re-examination.
I don't want, Lordships, my humble submission.
People have argued that now.
One-
How many
Lordships.
people will just because you're for an intervener?
I understand, Lordships. One specific point, my lords. In Tanvi Salwal case, the Lordships interfered and cancelled the examination within 45 days. Whereas when it comes to we people, after the result was declared, there was a Rawlsian ignorance, wheel of ignorance, my lords, when it came to the candidates who were involved in Tanvi Salwar case. Whereas in our case, my lords, after we being declared successful, on the basis of a conclusive police report, Lordships interfered in Tanvi Salwar case. Whereas in this case, my lords, police report, CBI report is not as conclusive as what happened in that case, my lords. So we being successful, brought into the rigor of re-examination again, might be, my lords, it may be difficult for us. So on behalf of the successful candidates,
ये
I
कह रहे हैं कि
plead.
सक्सेसफुल
Your Lordships,
कैंडिडेट है
I am
हमारा,
appearing in
तो
item
re-neet नहीं होना चाहिए
21.34.
ऐसा ही
If your
बोल रहे हैं।
Lordships allow for re-neet, we are covered. But if your Lordships do not allow for re-neet, your Lordships, our relief is restricted to seeking parity with 1563 students. Your Lordships, we are the tribal students from Meghalaya who appeared from two centers, Reboi and Jowai. So, your Lordships, admittedly, there has been loss of time as apparent from the representations made by the center coordinators and also admitted by the NTA.
सो जो आप ऊपर देख रहे हैं वो जजेस, वो जो एडवोकेट्स हैं वो बोल रहे हैं कि रीनीट नहीं होना
Your
चाहिए।
Lordships, that has been also admitted by NTA in their response dated
We
17th
do
of
want
July.
extra time for that. That's your individual grievance in regard to the Meghalaya student.
Please, Your Lordships, and
See what we do on that.
please, Your Lordship.
Your Lordship, in case there is no re-neet, I would pray that if the answer, option number 4 is considered to be only correct answer, I would expect only if the
My Lord, I'm in item number 24. It is on a completely different tangent. Since 2020, before the Delhi High Court, we have been agitating that the NTA officials are involved in the swapping of my OMR sheets. My Lord, in the digital,
All right, we'll deal with your case separately.
My lords, I am also here with the same grievance. When the NTA answer sheet was released, I scored almost 509 marks. I had attempted 131 questions, and when the final result came out, I scored -6, which was very shocking
my
for
Lord,
me.
interestingly, the Delhi High Court had confiscated the OMRs.
All good things. must
Also, my lord,
At the blood, since this is the end of the hearing,
Mr. Solicitor, now, have you constituted a committee or something like
We
that?
have, we have.
Now, what,
yes.
give us some idea about that.
We have, I'm sorry, my lord, I should have pointed that out, my lord. There is a 7-member committee, my
फाइनल
lord,
बता रहे हैं
it's
बेटा
subject
अभी
to
कि क्या
your
होगा, कब
lordship's
बताएंगे,
approval.
कब
It
बताएंगे।
is,
ध्यान से सुन लो, हो सकता है लंबा चल जाए, वैसे इनका भी तो टाइम हो चुका है बेटा, 3:30 तक होता है।
yes. But it is R21 of the counter affidavit, page number.
R21 of the counter affidavit.
Yes, my lord. It is headed by Dr. K. Radhakrishnan, former chairman ISRO and chairman Board of Governance, IIT Kanpur, and Dr. Randeep Guleria, former director AIMS Delhi, Professor B.J.
Committee की
Rao,
बात कर
Vice
रहे हैं जो
Chancellor,
NTA ने
Central
बनाई
University
थी।
of Hyderabad, Professor Ramamurthy K., Professor Emeritus, Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Madras, Shri Pankaj Bansal, co-founder, People Strong and board member of Karma Yogi Bharat, Professor Aditya Mittal, Dean, Student Affairs, IIT Delhi, Shri Govind Jaiswal, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Education, as a member secretary. Lord, it is placed at R21 with my counter, my lord, counter dated.
हाँ जी, तो उन्होंने पूछा जैसे इतने सारे केसेस आ रहे थे एनटीए
4th July.
कि एनटीए ने क्या कोई कमेटी बनाई, तो वो कह रहे हैं हमने 4 जुलाई को ही बना ली थी, जिसमें एस राधाकृष्णन जो इसरो के फॉर्मर चेयरमैन हैं वो थे, डॉक्टर
Return
रणदीप
after 5
गुलेरिया थे,
minutes.
एम्स के फॉर्मर डायरेक्टर।
Lord, on the, since at the end of the day, on a lighter note, sometimes your lordships must be missing the virtual hearings where there is a facility of muting us.
We'll be back in 5 minutes. Dr. CP, has something, Mr.
5 minutes में they will be back.
So after, we come back after 5 minutes, all right. Then just come back after 5
डिसाइड
minutes.
करने जा रहे हैं बेटा, 5 मिनट्स, अगले 5 मिनट के बाद probably they will be back with some result. It is not over. मैं सब बच्चों को बता दूं, ये 5 मिनट शायद ये डिसाइड करने के लिए लेकर गए हैं, तो they said they will be back in 5 minutes, most probably with the judgment. ठीक है, फाइनल जजमेंट के साथ बेटा जी, हो सकता है कुछ भी हो सकता है, मतलब नाउ द केस इज इन देयर हैंड। ठीक है, देखो दे आर ऑल्सो गिविंग देयर एक्स्ट्रा टाइम, वैसे 3:30 यूजुअली ओवर हो जाता है, बट इस बार 3:30 नहीं हुआ है, 4:30 हो गए हैं। एवरीवन इज वेटिंग, एवरीवन इज पुटिंग देयर पॉइंट, और ये जरूरी भी है बेटा। आप कह रहे हैं कि इनको मत सुनो, उनको मत सुनो, सारे एडवोकेट्स को सुनना, सबकी प्ली सुनना, क्योंकि एक एक बच्चा मैटर करता है, सबकी पिटिशन सुनना बहुत जरूरी है। अब वो बोल रहे हैं कि एक बच्चे के ओएमआर काउंट करने पे 509 नंबर आ रहे थे, लेकिन जब रिजल्ट आया तो -6 आ रहे हैं, दिस इज ऑल्सो इम्पॉर्टेंट, ईच एंड एवरी स्टूडेंट इज इम्पॉर्टेंट, सिर्फ हम मार्क्स की बात नहीं कर सकते हैं यहाँ पर। तो अब क्या डिसीजन होता है क्या नहीं होता है ये सब बेटा जी डिपेंड करता है 5 मिनट के बाद, ठीक है, 5 मिनट्स के